3 years ago, when it seemed that Hugo Ekitike was on the verge of joining Newcastle from Reims, people in the northeast of England were already buzzing. They believed they were signing the new Thierry Henry. Football tends to be cautious with loud comparisons for young talents, but this time even the skeptics agreed. The resemblance was obvious. Both are tall, lean, and move with an elegant gait. Both are center forwards who like to drift left and burst into the box with long strides. And both are nearly impossible to stop once they pick up speed. And of course, the legendary Thierry Henry, the man he was being compared to, did not stay silent. I often talk to Thierry about him, Micah Richards said on the Rest is Football podcast. He said Hugo isn't an annoying player. Sometimes he looks phenomenal, and sometimes he doesn't even get the basics right. But if he sorts it all out, his ceiling will be incredibly high. That's why this summer saw a fierce battle over Hugo Ekitike. Newcastle had their £70 million bid rejected, and then Liverpool stepped in. The Reds not only began talks for Ekitike, but also made a sensational attempt to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle for a British record fee. Arsenal and Manchester United were also interested. But it was Liverpool who won the race. The forward will cost £79 million, the second most expensive transfer in Reds history after the £160 million signing of Florian Wirtz. The rise in value of the 23-year-old Ekitike is astonishing. In 2022, Reims had agreed to sell him to Newcastle for £25.6 million. But at the last moment, PSG stepped in and took the player on loan with a €28.5 million buy option. Even Ekitike himself would probably admit his move to PSG in 2022 came too early. He experienced life in the shadow of the Galacticos, Messi, Mbappe and Neymar, and was later sidelined when Luis Enrique began building a new young attacking line. The right club, but the wrong time. Quite possibly. A quick player who was pushed to the top too soon and then had to step back in order to gain regular playing time. He moved to Eintracht Frankfurt, a club known for producing top strikers. Ekitike became the next in line after Omar Marmoush, Luka Jovic, Sebastian Haller, and Randall Kolo Muani. In January, Marmoush joined Man City for £59 million, and all the team's hopes shifted to Hugo. After Omar's departure, he stopped playing in the forward duo and proved that he could lead the team on his own. Helping him in that was Mario Götze, who delivered pinpoint passes. He's a complete striker, said Absolute Football journalist Christopher Michael. He is fast, shoots with both feet, good in the air, excellent with his back to goal, tall, technical, can assist, and even act as a playmaker. He has everything to become one of Europe's top strikers. I think he's more talented than Marmoush. Liverpool took notice of Ekitike after failing to get a promising response on Alexander Isak. That says a lot. Both are technical, fast strikers. What do they have in common? When they hit top speed, they're unstoppable. Like Isak and like many French strikers, Ekitike loves to attack at pace and break through spaces down the left channel. However, unlike Isak, he's still not a finished product. In November, Eintracht head coach Dina Topmiller directly advised him to give up flashy tricks. His backheel passes didn't exactly impress us, the coach said. It's a typical phase for young players to find balance between flair and efficiency. For now, his goals still don't fully reflect his impact. Yes, he scored 22 goals last season, 15 of them in the Bundesliga. That's already a respectable result, but if the Bundesliga is a high-performance training ground for future Premier League stars, then finishing is exactly what Hugo still needs to refine. Last season, he significantly underperformed on XG. By various estimates, he missed between 6 to 8 goals. He took more shots than any other player in last season's Bundesliga, but as Darwin Núñez's example shows, a high shot count doesn't guarantee goals. It could mean the player is a constant threat, but still inconsistent in finishing. But Liverpool can recall, in his final season at Roma, Mohamed Salah scored just 15 goals in Serie A, and at Anfield he became a machine. The club has always preferred forwards who constantly create chances, even if they don't always convert them. And that's what makes Ekitike the perfect candidate. His average of 3.74 shots per game and 1.49 on target would have ranked him 5th and 3rd respectively in the Premier League last season. His 0.29 expected assists per 90 minutes would place him in the Premier League top 10 under similar pace. Salah wasn't that list, no other Liverpool player was. If he lands in the right environment, he might explode, football analysts wrote about Ekitike. And it happened. Now he's at Liverpool, in Arne Slot's new dynamic team that wants to win it all. Ekitike, like Florian Wirtz, is now part of Liverpool's new look attack, built for the long term, because everyone knows Salah will soon leave and the team needs new leaders. Liverpool's new spending strategy is stunning. Today, Liverpool has the greatest purchasing power in its history. The club is ready to break any financial barrier to build a squad that will terrify not just Premier League rivals, but all of Europe. PSG and owner John Henry usually operate quietly, buying players early, before others start to panic and inflate prices at the end of the window. A money spent in Liverpool out-muscling even giants like Bayern and Newcastle. This is something new for fans who not long ago were saying the Reds have got no money, but will still win the league. Thanks to PSG's financial stability and the genius transfer strategy of Michael Edwards, who returned to the club 16 months ago as CEO of football, Liverpool can now outbid any rival. It looks like a radical shift in Fenway Sports Group's policy, building from a position of strength, not need. But the club insists, nothing has changed. The philosophy remains the same: self-sustainability, discipline, long-term thinking. Just like in 2018, when selling Coutinho to Barcelona for £142 million allowed them to buy Alisson and Van Dijk. Only last summer, the club spent just £40 million on two transfers: Federico Chiesa and Giorgio Mamardashvili, who officially joined Liverpool this summer. Yet the club still sold players for £47.5 million. This year, the smart sales continued. They even squeezed £8 million from Real Madrid by letting Trent Alexander-Arnold go a month early as a free agent, so he could play at the Club World Cup. Another £15 million came from the transfers of Coogan Kelleher, Nat Phillips, and Gerald Kwanzaa. And now Slot is ready to part ways with those outside his plans. Darwin Núñez could leave for £55 million. Harvey Elliott to West Ham for £30 million. Tsimikas or Robertson another £15 million. Federico Chiesa for £10 million and Tyler Morton for £15 million. Arne Slot doesn't want to lose Luis Diaz, but the player himself has made it clear. He wants a bigger new contract and is unhappy that negotiations haven't even started, with only 2 years left on his deal. Bayern have already submitted a £58 million bid and are ready to raise it to £65 million, which could seal the deal. As a result, if you tally everything up, £180 million could be recouped through sales, meaning the actual net cost for Wirtz, Ekitike, Frimpong, and Kerkez is only £19 million. Now, add one more fact. A season with minimal squad investment brought in £174.9 million in prize money for winning the Premier League, plus at least £83 million from the Champions League and £3.12 million profit from every home game following Anfield's expansion. Signing Isak, even for £120+ million, will not cause anyone at the club to lose sleep, especially now that the departures of Diaz and Núñez seem inevitable, and the tragic death of Diogo Jota left a huge void in the attack. Arne Slot could have many options for how to shape his team next season. Liverpool have already signed such stars as Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, and Hugo Ekitike, of course. Yet despite the arrival of the French forward, Liverpool are still trying to sign Newcastle star Alexander Isak. And that may not be the end. Liverpool remains seriously interested in Crystal Palace's captain Marc Guéhi. The English centre-back could be a direct replacement for Ibrahima Konate, who is likely to leave Anfield after his contract expires next summer. If Liverpool pull off all these big-name signings, Arne Slot will face a difficult task: how to fit all these new elements into one team. The Dutchman could stick with the tried-and-tested 4-3-3 formation and simply integrate the new arrivals. Isak would most likely take the central striker role in place of Darwin Núñez, while Ekitike would support him from the left flank. This would partly compensate for the possible loss of Luis Diaz, but once again make Cody Gakpo a bench option. Remember, Bayern are targeting Diaz. Meanwhile, Slot will also need to adjust his defense. Trent Alexander-Arnold has already left the club and Andy Robertson is not getting any younger. For these positions, Liverpool have brought in Kerkez and Frimpong, two dynamic fullbacks. If Guéhi does end up moving to Anfield, the defense could change even more radically. Guéhi would likely partner Virgil van Dijk in central defense. And of course, we can't forget the biggest transfer of them all, the arrival of Florian Wirtz. The German midfielder cost Liverpool £116.5 million and signed a contract until 2030. He is expected to play behind the strikers in the number 10 role, alongside Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch. Still, Slot could abandon tradition and go for the experiment, testing a two-striker formation, Isak and Ekitike up front together. A 3-5-2 setup would give Kerkez and Frimpong even more space to attack down the flanks. And Robertson could switch roles and play as the left center-back in a back three. Plus, this system could finally allow Mohamed Salah to get some rest. So, on paper, the champions are even stronger, but the future is unpredictable. The tragic death of Diogo Jota changed not only plans but also the atmosphere in the dressing room. Arne Slot's team is now deeper, more flexible, and has the rotation to handle the pace of an entire season across all competitions. Last season wasn't without dips in form, which cost them a Champions League playoff exit to PSG and a League Cup final defeat to Newcastle. Liverpool aren't just preparing for a new season, they're preparing for a new era, one in which they see themselves at the very least as the new Manchester City. And they will try to match Guardiola's phenomenal achievement, winning the Premier League 4 times in a row. So that's it for today. This was The Island. Support us with a like, comment, and subscription. Thank you. See you soon. Bye for now.